Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Magnetic Soul Podcast. And if you are watching this on YouTube, welcome to my channel. I am excited to be here with you guys today. I have a lot of messages to share. So this particular video and episode is going to be all about something that I've been seeing and noticing and something that I've been through many times in my path and what's kind of coming through for right now. So if you have been noticing that you're feeling a little bit disconnected, if you have been, feeling like you can't really connect or can't really connect in the same way as before, this video is for you. This episode is for you. I'm going to be talking a lot about gift activation, common things that can happen when you're activating new gifts, as well as telepathy and just some common messages that are coming through for right now. So let's get into it. There is a really big need for integration, okay? There's a need for integration. If you have been going through a healing experience, if you've been moving through a lot of activation, there's a need to integrate. There's been a lot that has been shaken up and uplifted and upgrading. There's a lot of energies and new streams of energies and consciousness that are coming through. And right now there is a need for integration. So if you've been, there's a few different examples I'm going to share with this because there's a few different messages coming through right now. But if you're one of those people that are kind of constantly putting more and more and more on you. So if you are constantly doing activations, or if you're constantly going to a healing experience, or if you are consuming a lot of content or information right now, there is a need to integrate the information. There's a need to integrate your experience. So that can be a little bit discomfort because our human minds might think, oh, we need more. We need another activation. We need another thing. We need to do another healing thing, or we need to do whatever method, whatever it is that is coming through for you. Only you know what that is. And the opposite is needed. So there's a need to kind of let the dust settle. There's a need to integrate the experiences because right now it's causing a lot of fogginess in your field. There hasn't been enough time to integrate your experiences. So, which brings me to a really big message coming through for right now is that your body, your energy field, your body wants to move through an experience. So there is either, it's either a healing experience, it's either a completion of an integration phase of an activation that you've been experiencing. For some of you, it's a spiritual experience wants to happen through you, or a creation wants to happen through you. But what's been kind of happening is that you've been clogging up your field and your energy and your channel with various distraction methods or other people's energy, or there's a need for, or consuming a lot of content. There's a need for, my alarm's going off. So obviously there's something, obviously there's something to be said to that. But I'm also seeing this need to detox to complete the process. So this also goes along with the integration, right? So there is a need for detoxification. So detox can be consuming content. It can be what you are physically consuming. Maybe you are covering up from having a healing experience. I'm seeing a lot of fogginess. I'm seeing a lot of distraction. I'm seeing a lot clogging up your field that is preventing you from having and moving through this experience that wants to happen through you. So it feels like a completion to an integration. It's time to complete the integration. It's time to allow this energy to move through you. Now, again, this could be an energy, an emotion that wants to come up through your body. It could also be a creation, and it also feels like there's a spiritual experience that wants to happen for you. But when you are perhaps even going into meditation, you're getting distracted by, feels like fight or flight. And it feels like your nervous system is trying to work with the experience and move the energy, but you get to a certain phase where it gets uncomfortable. Maybe the energy is really high or the emotion's really intense that wants to come through you, and then you shut down or you get distracted. So it feels like there's certain substances that need to be released right now for the time being while you go through this upgrade, while you complete this experience, while you integrate. This could be from substances like alcohol or marijuana or whatever it is that you're kind of putting stuff on that's getting in the way of this clear experience that wants to happen through you. So it also feels like there's a lot of consumption of media. Consumption is like what you are watching is getting in the way. It's kind of clogging up your field from you having this experience. Other people's energy, maybe it's your phone. It's time to kind of put away the distraction methods to complete this integration phase, to complete this process, to let this creation, this experience happen through you, because it does feel like there's so much clogging up the field, and it's kind of getting in the way to complete this phase that you are in, to complete this integration, to allow for this healing experience to come through you, whatever it may be for you. There's something that wants to happen. So if you get to a place where maybe you're sitting in meditation or whatever you're doing, and then you get to that place where you get a little uncomfortable and you go to check your phone or you go to do whatever it is, I want you to see if you can push the envelope a little bit longer on that to let this experience happen. I feel like some of you, like there's like guides that are coming through that want to activate you. They want to have an experience with you, but you've been kind of getting like distracted by clogging up your channels, by clogging up your field. And it doesn't mean that you have to get rid of these things forever. It just means that temporarily it's getting in the way of you completing this integration process. It's like covering up. So it feels like this wants to come out, but then you're covering up. So it's like covering up with the feeling, the need that you need to maybe do an activation or a meditation, or I don't know what it is. It's just, or get a healing or whatever. It's like, no. You just need to kind of like let the dust settle and integrate this experience and let this move through you. So you know what your distraction methods are. It's time to just kind of unplug right now, to let this experience run through you, to be in your own field and energy, to complete this phase. So another thing that is coming through right now is that there is a lot of gift activations happening. There is a upgrade to your gifts that are taking place right now. And really the dial is turning on. So if you are already an intuitive or channel or healer or whatever it may be, there can sometimes be, it's a bit tricky. So sometimes when the dial is really turning on, this can be normal to have a temporary feeling of disconnection, to feel like you don't know how to use your gifts. You're not getting turned off. The dial is turning up. So there has been a lot of activations. There's been a lot of upgrades happening. And when you really turn the dial up, the gifts are really turning on, it can feel like you're learning how to use your gifts, or you're learning how to walk again. It can temporarily feel like you're disconnected, or that you don't know how to use your gifts. This is a temporary feeling to allow for this integration. It's like learning how to walk again. It's like learning, it's all new. There's new gifts coming in. And sometimes a lot of these gifts they're saying are beyond your human comprehension, but they're known to your soul. So it's like you're going up a level, you're going into a new level. And there can be a period where you can feel disconnected as you adjust your frequency to this new level of light that is coming through. There's everything coming through is very new. There's a very high vibration coming in, and it's like you're learning how to work with that energy. They're adjusting their energy, these guides or this energy that you're working with, and you're also physically recalibrating and adjusting your energy to learn how to work with this new frequency. So this is actually very exciting. You're not disconnected. You're just learning new gifts. New gifts are coming on. And so sometimes, like say this can come through and you're just getting a little tune up. So you need to adjust and recalibrate. So go through this recalibration phase to learn how to work with this new frequency and learn how to work with gifts in a new way. So it does feel like you're learning how to walk again, but you're going to meet this place where it's like, oh, it's going to kick in and you're going to get it very soon. Again, this goes along with this need for integration. Sometimes the human feels like we need to go at it and do the thing and try to get there. But actually right now you just need some time for stillness, for quietness, for emptying the brain, sitting in meditation, not trying to do anything, to allow for this to integrate and to you to learn how to work with these gifts in a new way. So for example, I used to play tennis growing up. And whenever I would reach a new state where, this old way of using my gifts in tennis didn't work anymore, like I was ready to upgrade my swing, or I was ready to upgrade, I would learn a new grip, or I would learn a new swing because I was ready, right? Like I was reaching a new level. So this is outdated, and it's time for me to upgrade my swing because I have upgraded, I have adjusted, I have learned how to work with this energy, right? Or this swing. And my coach would give me a new swing. I would upgrade, right? I would go crazy because there was a temporary feeling where I didn't feel like I knew how to hit a ball, and I would get frustrated and annoyed, and I would want to go back to the old way because that was familiar, right? But I was upgrading. I didn't need that old swing anymore. So I had to learn how to adjust my way of working, and I was adjusting to a new way of hitting the ball. That's kind of like how it feels like for this analogy for what you're going through. So if you ever go through a period, I want you to know and remember that I shared this with you, that sometimes like everything is new. And I know a lot of my friends and I myself have gone through this many times where it's like, whoa, what happened? Like, what's going on here? And there's a few things that can come through for this. Sometimes when you are going through something, when you are in the thick of something, when you're going through a very challenging experience, your guides or, the energy you work with might not be as hands-on. They might, it might feel like you're temporarily disconnected in some way, but sometimes they are, and I have a message that they're sharing after this, but sometimes they're actually just working to support you energetically while you move through an important experience, while you move through a healing experience. When you're going through something really challenging, sometimes they might not be as vocal because you are moving through this experience. So this is important for you and your soul's path for you to, there's a few different things. When you're going through something that's very important for your soul's path, and that you actually hold the experience, you hold the wisdom for, sometimes they'll be not as connected. They'll be supporting you very energetically, but they might not be as chatty as before because it's up to you to walk that path. You need to work through it, and they can guide you and support you and be in that presence, but it's up to you to gain the wisdom of the experience. So that is another thing. If you're walking through something that is very significant in you and your soul's path, they might not be as vocal. Or if you're going through a really challenging experience, they might just hold you energetically. And another part of this that they're saying is that some of you, old guides are leaving and new guides are coming in. So old gifts are kind of like you've reached that place in your level where there's new guides coming in, or there's new gifts coming in. They're adjusting their frequency. You're learning how to work with their energy, and you're just learning how to work in a new way. I'm also seeing gifts that are beyond your comprehension coming to the forefront. Maybe you are also used to being very clairvoyant, and now that's shifted, and now you're being asked to be more claircognizant, or your clairsentience is coming online. This is a good thing because you are learning to work with new skills. You are learning how to work with, it happens. Sometimes you're more clairvoyant, or sometimes you're more clairaudient or clairsentient. I don't like to get too caught up on the clairs. That's not really, I find that focus can kind of get in the way of how the energy and the higher consciousness, your soul, wants to work with you. So I'm not one of those people that gets very caught up in the clairs. I'm not a big clair person because the way it comes through for me, it's multidimensional, and I don't like to get too caught up in one way because everybody is so obsessed with seeing, but there's a whole different spectrum of gifts that are available to you. And quite often, now that we're on this topic, it might come in as you might get a vision, and then it translates into a knowing, and then a feeling, and it doesn't have to be this linear way anymore. It's not this one way of doing things. So that's why I don't like to get too caught up in the clairs. I think people get too obsessed with one, and then they miss out on the whole spectrum of how they are really meant to receive information. They got caught up in needing it to be and look a certain way because maybe a mentor had it one way, whatever it may be. I'm not one of those people. I'm one of those people that you have to work with what you're receiving and trust in that, and don't try to bend your way to fit another way. I find a lot of people fall off the map because they try to, in like courses or whatever with various mentors, I've seen this before, where they fall off the map because they think that if they are not seen, that they're not gifted. And it's like, oh, hold up. There's a whole different spectrum. We are communicating with you. And I've seen this a lot of times with clients and with, even when back in my early stages, I was like, I'm not getting that. Like, that's just not the way it's coming through for me. And now I'm very claircognizant and telepathic, but I'm also, I can't pinpoint just one gift because it comes through in a multidimensional way. So I want to share that with you because obviously someone needs to hear that and know that. But again, if you are moving through a healing experience, if you are feeling disconnected, it's because you are adjusting your frequency to you're going through an upgrade. This is an exciting thing. It won't be like this forever, but it's because there's all new gifts coming in, and a lot of them are beyond our human comprehension. Some of you listening to this need to know that you are meant to do things in a new way, and you're meant to bring through the new. And they're saying there's also new galactic streams of consciousness, new streams of consciousness coming through. So there's a lot integrating, a lot happening, a lot of really high vibration happening that you're adjusting and learning how to work with. So a lot of it might feel energetic. I talk about this in my course coming out in October, Activate Your Channel. It's a learning to channel. I talk about clairs in that a lot. But I give you guys my all in this course. So I'm excited for it to come out. But it's like sometimes they might work more energetic with you. The energy might work more energetic, less vocal, we'll say. When you're upgrading or when they're just working on your energy, they're attuning you to their frequency. And so I just want you to know that there is an adjustment phase. There's a recalibration phase when you're learning a new swing, when you're learning to work with your gifts in a new way. I know a lot of people who are meant to bring through the new paradigm, the new gifts, the new way of doing things. It's a bit of a trust fall because you're not meant to do things the old way. And when you try to do things in an old way or the way it's been done before by someone else, you're getting in the way of how it's meant to happen for you. That's where doubt can come up, but it's because they're just saying like you're kind of meant to bring through your gifts in a new way. You're not meant to do it in anyone else's way. And that takes deep trust. It takes to hone it in. There's some people that can provide some light bulb moments, some pinpoints for, some energetic keys. But ultimately, some of you listening to this, you're bringing through you're meant to bring through it in a new way, in your own unique way. So you're not disconnected. You're not being shut off. You're just going through an upgrade. So I want you to know this, that whenever you're on your path in going forward, if you ever feel temporarily disconnected or you're having you can easily connect for your clients, but you're having trouble connecting for yourself, that can be because you're moving through an experience or you're having to trust in your own innate wisdom, or maybe they've already given you the answer and you keep asking the same thing, but you already know the answer. They're like, hey, hello, it's mastery, right? There's mastery needed right now. So know that if this is happening to you, if it's really easy for you to connect with your clients, but it's really hard for you to connect for yourself, it's because you're going through an upgrade. It's because you're learning to use new skills and to sit in meditation and let this integrate and just kind of like playing around with it a little bit, letting yourself come into a place of stillness. This brings me to what they want me to share next. Come into a place of stillness, of not needing to do anything, but just to be. And I know that can be very scary to do that, and it feels like it's going against what you think you should be doing, because we are humans and we think that we need to be doing in order to move the needle forward. And that's just not the way it works when it comes to your gifts. There's an integration, there's a rest phase, there's an integrating after all of everything that just got shaken up, and an energetic experience and activation that you're going through. So your energy field, your body, you're able to work with new energies. Your capacity is increasing, it's expanding. You're learning new gifts. A lot of you sometimes are coming, some of you are coming into new abundance. It's like you have to let go of the old way of doing things, because there is a new way that you are working with energy, that you are working with just your guides, your new skills. There's ancient gifts. These are not new to your soul. They're very much part of your soul. I feel like your oversoul is downloading them into your physical body right now. So let yourself just be temporarily. This won't be forever. But there is an integration. There is a need to not clog up with more and more and more with, it's kind of funny because my husband is one of those people that is like, when you turn on the heat in the place and you think you turn on the heat and you think if you turn it up full blast, like full tilt, it's going to get there quicker, but it's like that's not the way it works. My husband's one of those people that will, like, if he wants, like, taking supplements, he's always constantly doing something to his body. He's biohacking, all that stuff. And I'm like, more is not always better. You need to adjust. And so I'm like that too when it comes to, like, breath work. I'm always like, let's do the hard one. Let's get right in there. And I actually, I'm just one of those people. I'm kind of like an all or nothing. I'm like, let's get into that cold plunge and go into the sauna for, like, whatever, let's push it. And I'm like that to my core, because I've just always had that in me. I like to kind of compete with myself. I like to push the needle on myself. I've always kind of been that way. And it's like more isn't better. And, doing the hardest breath work doesn't take you any, I've learned that. Like I've done conscious connected breath work, and I've done the 3-part transformational breath work. And I've had experiences with both, with a more gentler approach and with a more intense approach. More doesn't mean better. And our human mind needs to get out of that. It's about quality over quantity. It's a big thing. You can have put out like a banger thing, like a banger video or whatever. Like, more is not better. And I've learned that with friendships. I've learned that with life experiences. More is not better. Quality over quantity is needed here. And I'm going to get into a whole segue if I keep going down that path. So we're going to reel it in a little bit, but I want to talk about telepathy. Something that has been happening over the past few years, but especially recently, the past few months, very strongly. Telepathy is really turning on. Claircognizance. A lot of your guides communicate telepathically. I think a lot of you are expecting them to speak through your ears and speak to you in this external voice, booming voice, and that's not the way it necessarily happens. It can be very telepathic. So when I've seen this a lot in client sessions recently, because people are like freaking out, but when telepathy is turning on, and I've been seeing this in a lot of my clients who are very gifted channels and healers, and I've also seen it in many different people, so it doesn't matter where you're at. But what I've learned is that, or channeled, when telepathy really turns on, it is normal for the mind to become very active. So let's think about this. So when the light bulb turns on, it kind of pushes out and causes a detox symptom of old thoughts, old loops, old mental, thought loops. Overthinking can really come into play when telepathy is turning on. It's kind of like when we are moving emotions out of our body, which is very connected to this video. When we are moving emotions come up to the surface, to the body, before they're ready to be cleared and released. It's kind of very similar when telepathy turns on. The old thoughts, the old loops, the old mental programming, the overthinking can sometimes be very active when telepathy is turning on, as a way to pull out old thoughts, old loops, the overthinking, the mental activity, to clear out the space to receive. So telepathy is something that creates new neural pathways in the brain. It activates different, they're saying dormant aspects of our brain. And when it turns on, it's like our minds are clearing out, just like our bodies are clearing out with these upgrades, right? Our minds clear out the clutter, the old releases, the overthinking comes to the surface, and then it clears out to settle into a new space to receive. We want to be in a place of receptivity. So that's where this quieting of the mind comes through. So maybe even when you're sitting in meditation, say you get really overactive in the mind or you're thinking a lot, maybe just writing it down and burning it after. Whatever you need to pull out these thoughts, this overthinking, this excessive mental chatter, we want to come to a place of stillness. And that when you're in a place of stillness, not the anxious thoughts, not the looping thoughts, not the old, that's just clearing out. So we just want to let it come to the surface and clear. Breathing it out. Imagine just like as simple as just breathing it up to the surface and letting it be released to create space for this new energy to come through. Now, children are very telepathic. The babies are very telepathic. And if you have children, likely they want to communicate with you telepathically. A lot of these new guides when guides come through in a higher frequency than before, higher information, a lot of them are very telepathic. They communicate telepathically and they're trying to get your attention. They're trying to communicate with you, but you have been getting too caught up in the distraction methods, in the feeling like you need more, or getting distracted with media, social media, what's going on in the world, everything. They need you to come to a place of stillness. And I'm kind of weaving this in because they start talking to me in the middle of these things and I have to share this message when it's meant to come through. But you need to kind of unplug because they want to have an experience with you. They want to connect with you. They have information for you. A creation even wants to come through and be downloaded through you. So babies are very telepathic. My children are very telepathic. The New Earth children, the starseed children are very telepathic, and they're communicating with you telepathically. I have a very funny story. My children, we always communicate telepathically, and my baby, who's now 4.5 months, this is like one of many experiences, and he'll, whenever I communicate with other people's children, it's all telepathic. So they have these gifts and they want this to turn on in their parents too. Or even if you're preparing to conceive, whatever, they want to communicate with you telepathically. So that might be turning on because these children want to come through and communicate with you. So side note, but my son, one day he was sleeping and I was like, I just always have this thing where I need to go check on my kids to make sure they're breathing. I got to chill out, but I have chilled out. I don't want to say I want to, but at this moment I was like, he was only a couple months old and I was like, I feel like I need to go in there and check on him. And he essentially told me to chill out. He's like, chill out, mom, see, look. And he moved in the video. He moved because we have a camera and he moved and then he was still asleep. So I was like, oh, okay. So it was like literally right as I was receiving that download from him, he moved and I was like, oh, okay. So I just want to share that funny story because they're very clever and they're very telepathic, and that's how likely they'll want to communicate with you. And if your child is a little bit older, my daughter's 4, it's how do I say this? Communicating with their soul, not the human. Because their soul might be telling you something else and they might be having their tantrum, their outbursts, or whatever, doing their regular jumping around, having a lot of fun. And underneath that is can be telepathic transmissions. So you kind of have to kind of remove that and be in a place of stillness to receive. They're always it's wild. Some of the things that are happening with my daughter telepathically. I'll think of something and she says it, or she'll think of something. I think it's just that some wild things are happening in our household. Let's just say that. I'm also soul connections with your partner. You guys might be really communicating telepathically, and that might be really something fun that's turning on. I know my husband and I will have these weird things where we say things at the same time, or we think of the same thing, or one of us thinks of something and I say it, or opposite, and it's been really funny. So just playing around with it, and those that are really connected with you. So know that's with your energetic sensitivity and your telepathy, you might think of something and someone calls, or you might think of something and someone messages you or reaches out or says something. A friend of mine who's also a very gifted channel, she came to me for a session, and I was looking at her field. I was like, whoa, you're overthinking a lot, hey? And she's like, yeah, I just like can't get out of my head. And I was like, it's because your telepathy is turning on. And she was like, oh, okay, haha, like whatever. The next day she messages me and goes, JAIME, wildest thing just happened. I was with my friend who's like, she calls them like her muggle friends. I was with a friend and I started to respond to her. And she's like, I didn't say anything, but I was thinking it. So she like heard it very loud and clear of what her friend was thinking. And she responded or said something in conversation to what her friend was thinking. Her friend got a little freaked out. But I know for myself, I'm very energetically sensitive, and over the summer, my energetic sensitivity has been on a whole new level, and I can feel things before they happen. I can see things. And I feel like I'm still kind of sitting with it because in Hawaii, I was downloading and channeling a lot of information about the energy field and energetic sensitivity and working with energy. And so I feel like I'm downloading something very new with that. But the energetic sensitivity has been off the charts for me. It's been really hard, to be honest, but I really didn't feel like the energetic sensitivity was a gift. It felt like something like I didn't want. I don't want the energetic sensitivity because it's really hard when you're in an environment and you're feeling everybody's stuff. You can hear their thoughts. You can hear their emotions, and sometimes it can be confusing as to what is yours and what is someone else's. But there's so much power when you can just unplug from everybody and just be in your own energy or your immediate energy. If you're a parent, you have a family, like just being in your own energy for a little while, maybe canceling things. But they've been downloading, and when I was going through the really thick of the energetic sensitivity, I can feel everything. I can hear everything. And it's been really like, I've had to like leave situations because it's been so intense. But my guides were like, you're going to be learning how to work with this. So, there is power, and I've been working with this. They've been teaching me so much that I will likely share with you guys. And when I've integrated what they're teaching me, but they're saying that I was going to be learning with a new way of working with energy. And I've been receiving pages and pages of downloads since I've been in Hawaii and back from Hawaii. I've been like channeling pages and pages of information. So sensing subtle energy and awareness increasing, I've had to really needed to unplug from a lot of people, from a lot of situations, from media and all of that, because I just needed to be in this channeled space. So when I go into a phase where I'm downloading a lot of information, where I'm channeling a lot, where I'm creating, and as a channel, I have to unplug from external sources of information. I have to unplug from social media. I really just kind of do what is needed for me on there. I post my stuff and I kind of unplug. When I'm going through periods of big big downloads, because I need to be in a clear space. I need to clear my channel and keep my channel clear. So as a channel, in order to be a clear channel, I can't be plugging into other people's messages. I can't be listening to other people's stuff. I have to be very clear in my channel. So that is something that I've had to do for like a long period of time, is be in my own channel. And that is a way that I keep my channel clear. And I feel like I have to share this with you guys because it's really important. If you are channeling, is that at a certain point you have to keep your channel clear. You have to keep your energy field clear, especially when you're meant to download or you're moving through an experience. There's too much information clogging up your channel. So my energetic sensitivity has been really intense, and maybe I'll share a whole other podcast on that or a video on that, but I just wanted to share a few things so that you know you are not disconnected, you are upgrading, and what happens with telepathy and all the things that I shared in this video, in this podcast. I would greatly appreciate it if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend. I would love to hear from you. And just to note that coming up, I have On Wednesday, the 8th of October, I have a group event. This one sells out pretty quickly because each person will be receiving their own message. I'll plug in the link to that. If it's sold out, just send me a message, reach out to me, and I can see about maybe just kind of feeling into if I can bring in more people into it. But we usually, this one sells out pretty quickly. I usually start with a guided meditation activation, do a big energy update for the group, and I channel individual messages for the people. So it's like your own personal mini reading. So I hope you have a great day, and I will speak to you in the next video.